Welcome back to RGO Photo. I'm Chris. Today we have yet another Canon EF lens review. This one is the 28-105 3.5 to 4.5 II USM. This is a very clean copy, and it's, I guess, 24 years old now. It came out in 2000. Now the interesting thing about this lens to me is that it's 3.5 to 4.5. So that means it only goes 2/3 of a stop between 28 mils and 105 mils. So millimeters. Mils is actually a different unit of measure, but so if you were comparing this to, say, the Canon 24-105L lens at f4, then this is slightly brighter on the short end and only slightly darker by 1/3 of a stop on the long end. The original version of this came out in 1992, so that's an 8-year gap between its update. The changing of the aperture here as you go, it's 28 to 33 millimeters, you're at 3.5. And then from about roughly on the scale here, about 34 millimeters to 84 millimeters, you're at f4. And then from 85 to 105, you're at 4.5. So that middle chunk, you stay at f4 for a pretty good while, or you have the ability to stay at that f4 for a good while. So we're going to test this today at 28 and 50 millimeters against the OG, the 1991 28-80 USM lens. And then we're going to do 80 and 105 against the 28 to 135 IS USM. This lens isn't great at 80 and 105, but so far it's the best thing I got in that range. So let's go in. We're going to look at 28 millimeters and 50 millimeters real quick because the OG is just better at 28 and 50 millimeters. So let's go real quick look at that. All right, so we've got the 105 on the left and the OG on the right. We've got good barrel distortion on both, though I think the OG is a little worse on the distortion and the vignetting. But let's go into the center here, and I'm just telling you, it's just not good. The 105 is not good over here on the left. So just check one corner. I mean, it's terrible. So let's go to 28 mils 5.6. Make sure we got the correct one on the correct side. So we've got the 105 here, and the center is just not good. Clearly, the OG is just better everywhere at 28 millimeters. The left side is decent, but the only corner that has a chance is the top left for some reason. Top left is pretty good on this 105. So let's go to 50 millimeters 5.6. All right, so the OG is here on the right, the 105 on the left. So with 50 millimeters 5.6 going into the center, and it's just not close. Now, like I said, the only corner that actually wins for the 105 is this top. I say top left, but I think the OG might be sharper there. Bottom left is the OG's best corner. So, yeah, clearly. And then the right side on the 105 over here is just not good. We take it to the bottom left. See, it just doesn't hold a candle to the OG. Now we're at 80 millimeters f4, and the 28 to 135 doesn't go to f4 at 80 millimeters, so this is by itself. So let's take a look at it. It looks like we've got actually some pin cushion starting here. That's what that looks like. So middle is pretty flat. It's not very sharp. Corners, not very good either. So let's go to 5.6, 80 mil 5.6. So now we're at 80 mils 5.6, and it looks like we still got that pin cushion going on. Let's check out our middles here. 135 is on the right. That's tough to call. Let's check a couple corners here. I don't know. I think I got to give that corner to the 105. Got to give that corner to the 105, though it's not great. And probably that corner to the 105 too. Let's check this wording up here. I think the 135 got it in the center. All right, we're at 80mm F8. Let's go to that center. It's pretty tough to say right there. Let's go up to the wording. I think the 135 has the center. .105's got the top right corner. And the bottom right. And that. So it looks like at 80mm F8, the 105 is better in the corners, ever so slightly not as good in the center, but it's consistent across the frame. It's decent across the entire frame. All right, so we're at 105 f4.5, and the other lens doesn't go to 4.5, so we're just by ourselves here on the 105. So let's check out our center. It's a bit soft. Check out our wording. Very soft. Corner, not good. Not that good. Yeah, pretty soft at f4.5 at 105mm. Still with the pin cushion here. All right, 105mm at 5.6. Still got that slight pin cushion. The 135 looks like it might have a little pin cushion, but not as much as the 105. So at 5.6, let's check out our centers. Ooh. I think the 135 may have the slight edge on the center. Let's go to some corners. Ooh, I think this corner is owned by the 105. Definitely the 105 down there. The 105 there. Let's check the wording. I feel like the wording is a little sharper on the 135, so it seems we got the same thing going on. The 135 has the center. The 105 is not that far behind in the center, but its corners are better. Thus, you would have more consistency with the 105. All right, 105mm at f8. Still got the pin cushion effect there. Let's go into the center here on the 105. It's not that good. Might be slightly sharper than the 135. Let's go to the corner. Corners are really good on this 105. This is pretty close, but the 105 is better. Yep, 105 by a little bit. .105 again. .105. Let's go to the wording. The 135 has a little more contrast and pop to the color, so maybe that's skewing me, but I feel like at f8 here at 105, when I look here on the Zen Deutsch, I feel like the right side is sharper. Let's look at the face. The contrast might skew me, but I feel like that might be sharper here. Anyway, they're pretty close at 105 and f8. I gotta say, I'm more than a little disappointed in the indoor test results from this lens, because it is outclassed by the older OG 28-80, where it beats the 28-135. It only does so marginally, and at least this has image stabilization. So I don't know if it can replace either of these lenses, which was kind of the hope. The hope was to actually to replace both of them, but I don't see that happening because this has nothing at 28 and 50 millimeters. But I did have this attached to the Canon 6D when I went down to 4 corners, so let's check out a couple things here. So here's a nice vertical shot, got way too much sky, and this is in 28 millimeters. This is where it does not do good. But the photo came out okay. So little 4x3 crop, 3x4, whatever you want to call it. And then of course I like my options, go to the square crop. 105 wide open at 4.5, and it's not very sharp at that wide open aperture. Now here's another shot in a focal range it's not good at, but it was stopped down a little bit, so that helps a little bit. Focus point is in the back there, but let's zoom in on this bottom right corner. In the top left, I don't know. It doesn't seem that it's that big of a deal in the practical application. But I do like the option of going to a 4.3 right there. So here I focused on the closest light bulb in the top right. Take that into a square crop. This is in one of the areas that it does pretty good at, 105 at 5.6. So it made good focus on that light bulb. Looks pretty good. The shots that were in the not good focal ranges for this lens, they seem to turn out pretty good. So I thought maybe the problem is just shooting that close to that test board. So what I did was, in this room, you see the bookcase here? There's another one on the other side over there. And so I just backed up a ways, so then I got 4 or 5 times further away than I would on the test board and shot the 28 millimeters, 35 and 50 and just looked at them, and it was the same. It's just not good at all. Middle's blurry, corners are terrible. Just the only corner that was decent was the top left at 50 millimeters in that 5.6 range. So anywho, a bit disappointing that a lot of these Canon EF lenses I'm testing, they're just not that good. Like even the OG, it's a decent lens, but once you get much past 50, it's not that decent anymore. And this one wasn't that good down low, and its top end isn't that good. It's good in that 50 to 100 millimeter range. So you kind of have to go with 3 lenses just to cover 24 to or 28 to 135. It's kind of crazy if you pick and choose. So anywho, hope you liked this video. If you did, give us that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button down there, and as always, thanks for watching.